elementary schools. Tomorrow we will have actually 820 students bus in here to see this performance, which is quite a few visitors to the high school. This will go on until Friday. The show was really interesting. It's a neat kind of participation thing. I think the young people like it as well as adults. They worked real hard on it. This is the last show for the seniors, and it's really kind of been a neat thing. They have rehearsed and prepared for the show during the class. We've also started having 96-minute classes on the high school level, so they have worked and rehearsed for it during that time. So they've really done a nice show. I think you'll really enjoy it. We've got some really super kids. I'm also going to lose a lot of super seniors. Also I'm working on is a cabaret, it's on the back of your program, on Broadway Front Row Center. This is another first. We are going to do a one-night performance here in June to raise money to get some fly space to put on the stage where the steps can actually go up and down during the things with the drops. And then we'll move it to the basket case for 2 weekends, Wednesday through Saturday night, and do it as a cabaret-style dinner theater extravaganza, we're calling it. Should be a really super neat thing. It's something that Dothan has never done that before either. Some of the young people that are at the show that night will also be your servers and your waiters and earn tips that night while they're doing it, so it also can be beneficial to them. And it should be a really neat experience. So before we present you Alice in Wonderland, I wanted to show to you a little sneak preview of the cabaret. We've got 2 soloists tonight. The first one is Elliot Burkett. He's going to do This Is the Moment from a musical Jekyll and Hyde that's going to Broadway next spring. And the second is actually alumni of Dothan High School, Catherine Knight. And she will be performing As If We Never Said Goodbye from Sunset Boulevard. And then after that, we will begin our presentation of Alice in Wonderland. I just want to thank you for coming once. This is super proud for just this being an 18-person class and to have this kind of turnout. It's really nice. We appreciate your continued support. Thank you. Come out and meet you. So I hope you enjoy Trials of Alice in Wonderland.
Alice was growing tired listening to her sister read. Just as her eyes began to close, she saw a white rabbit hurry by, looking at his pocket watch and talking to himself. Alice thought that was very curious indeed. A talking rabbit with a pocket watch? So she followed him into a rabbit hole beneath a big tree. And down she fell. Down to the center of the world, it seemed. When Alice landed with a thump, the white rabbit was just disappearing through a door, which was much too small for her. Alice drank from a bottle on a table and shrank away to a very tiny size. But now she could not reach the key to the little door. At last, Alice found a way to get through the little door. Seated on a bottle, she floated into Wonderland on a mysterious sea. On the shore of the Wonderland Sea, Alice joined a race. It had no beginning, it had no end. You just ran around and around. On through Wonderland, Alice went looking for the white rabbit. She met 2 jolly fellows, Tweedledum and Dee. They did not know the rabbit, but they told Alice a wonderful story of a bard and a carpenter who walked beside a sea. Alice listened politely, then she hurried on. And at a neat little house in the wood, at last she met the white rabbit himself. The rabbit sent Alice into his little house to hunt for his glove. But instead she found some cookies labeled "Take One," so she did. The cookie made Alice grow as big as the house. What a sight! Rabbit and his friend Dodo thought she was a dreadful monster. Alice picked a carrot from Rabbit's garden. Eating it made her small again, so small that she was soon lost in a forest of grass. Soon Alice found herself in a garden of talking live flowers. There were bread and butter flies and rocking horseflies too. Alice thought the garden was a pleasant place, but the flowers thought Alice was just a weed, so they would not let her stay. Next, Alice met a haughty caterpillar, blowing smoke rings. He told Alice to eat his mushroom if she wished to change her size. Alice sampled one side and shot up taller than the treetops, frightening the birds. But another bite made her just the right size. Now which way shall I go, Alice wondered. The signposts she found along the path were no help. They pointed all over. If garden. But the gardeners could not help her. They were all busy as could be, painting the roses red. Soon along came the royal procession. And who should be the royal trumpeter for the Queen of Hearts? But the White Rabbit himself.
teasing, tormenting, and otherwise annoying.
Never mind that! Get to the part where I lose my temper!
Never come with me to lose her temper.
Now, are you ready for your sentence?
Sentence? But there must be a verdict first.
Sentence first, verdict afterward!
That's the end of the way.
All ways are my way!
Yes, Your Majesty.
Up with her head!
But my dear, we've called no witnesses. Couldn't we hear maybe one or two?
Oh, very well. Call the first witness.
First witness! Oh, that's me. Well, it all started when Alice was not paying attention to her sister, who was reading. Alice was daydreaming, and I ran across her thoughts. I was late for an important date, but then I'm always late. I'm late for a very important date. No time in sight, close to by, I'm late. When I wait, I lose the time I save. My fuzzy ears and whiskers took me too much time to shave. I run in and I wish that I could fly. There's danger in my lips, something here's the reason why. You see, I'm overdue. I'm in a rabbit stew. Can't even say goodbye. Hello, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. All right. She followed me down a rabbit hole and fell and fell and fell. She thought she never had thought of it, but she kind of did. She came to a little room and tried to follow me through a tiny door. Since she was much too big, she found a bottle on the table marked "Drink Me," and she did. This made her much, much too small. So she found a cookie marked "Eat Me," and this made her much, much too big. So she began to cry, and her tears made a river, and it swept her right out of that little room to the ocean. Where she met the next witness. Next witness, the dodo bird.
Yes, I met this child when she floated by. We were just about to start a caucus race.
Caucus race!
Yes, the caucus race. Never gets anywhere and no one ever wins. I guess the best way to explain it is just to do it. Take your places, everyone.
Everybody take your place. We start the caucus race. We're going 10 feet and here soon the race begins. The chickens are in the rain, racing till they're dry again. Then you hear them sneezing, oh, they're off. They're off. They're off. Forwards, backwards, inwards, outwards, bottom to the top. Makes no difference
did follow me to my house. I thought she was Mary Ann, so I asked her to go inside my house and fetch my white gloves. While she was looking, she found a cookie marked eat, and she did. Once again, she changed sizes. This time she grew so large that she filled my house and bumped her head against the roof. I thought she was a monster. Just as the dodo bird and Bill the lizard were about to smoke her out, she stole the carrot from my garden, ate it, and shrank down to a small size again. I ran away and she followed me, and that's where she met the next witness. Next witness, Rose.
Flowers, flowers. I was there with Iris, Daisy, and Dandelion. She was surprised when she came into our garden and found that we could talk. She was even more surprised that we could sing. Come on, boys. Little bird and butterfly, kiss the
want you singing.
Don't mind if I do.
Rolling
I do.
I'm celebrating Anna's birthday tonight. Let's sing together.
Spread.
teased you and tormented you and made you lose your temper.
Oh, please, Your Majesty, forgive me and let me go home, and I'll never bother you again.
She's only a little cat, my dear.
Hush! And let me think. To let them decide Alice's fate. What do you think? We should let it go, shouldn't we? It's obvious that you've got enough this time. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty. And thank you, friends. Now I can go home. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for coming, everybody. Bye-bye.
Levi's, yep.
We got some change over there. And
91 cents. I knew you just grabbed the money.
The money, yeah.
That's
Well, reimbursement's a big issue these days.
That's right.
If I didn't know any better, that's either a small bomb or a pocket watch.
Yep, pocket watch. You got the stem on it there. Some people
know
think a can of snuff, but it doesn't have that stem.
You never have to stir it with a little stem. Yeah, I can see the difference there.
We've got a pocket knife and a lighter. Trivial facts, maybe useful someday.
Work that into a dinner conversation. Well, I wouldn't have got the other couple items there, but certainly he's not. They're going to clean this off before he goes to MRI, aren't they?
Suck off those pockets.
No doubt.
Before we look at his chest film, you need to know that his shortness of breath got worse. And we still now have a patient who's complaining of left upper quadrant pain, on palp also, and decreased breath sounds on the whole left side. Now looking at his chest film, what's wrong with this picture? And no, that's not another shooting. Nice effort, but...
No doubt. Geez, this is kind of interesting over here. I don't recall seeing that normally in the chest
stomach
films.
in the chest, yeah.
That's right. So he's blown his diaphragm out.
He's ruptured his diaphragm. We've got normal lung field on this side. His whole lung's now been compressed here above his stomach. Here's the stomach, and then the diaphragm down here.
How about the heart?
The heart, well, it kind of squoze in there.
Squoze? It's going to...
That's a radiology term.
That's a more severe form of smush, isn't it?
Unusual injury, and one of the things that the medic did in this case was come back later and said, you know, I should have known about a ruptured diaphragm, and I don't think so. What we've got here is a guy who has left upper quadrant pain, and I'd be thinking spleen, interabdominal bleeds, all that sort of thing, and decreased breath sounds on the same side that makes me think of pneumothorax and all that. Management was heads up. I mean, it made them look like they were treating a multi-system trauma patient. They're not going to pick this up in the field.
No. And
it doesn't matter.
I've only seen a couple of them, and the ones that I've seen that were obvious, they're laying supine on a board being immobilized, and you see this kind of a hollowed out area, and you look at it, and it's like, what's wrong with this picture? And statistically, almost all ruptured diaphragms are on the left side. The right side is buttressed by the liver, which takes the hit, and generally you just don't see them over here. You see blunt trauma to the liver, and occasionally, and I've had people say some anecdotal comments that you hear bowel sounds in the chest. That ought to clue you in.
But probably not. I mean, bowel sounds, I don't know, we've talked about this before, but that's a useless sign in the pre-hospital setting in trauma, because anybody who gets popped is going to shut their bowel down for a while. So I wouldn't expect to hear bowel sounds on this guy till tomorrow, maybe, if they hadn't picked this up.
When you're away from that
that's right.
diesel ambulance, I mean, that pretty much precludes hearing any sounds, blood pressures, lung sounds, anything.
Yep. Before we talk just overall about clinical features, one other thing to note, when they went into the OR to fix that, he also had fractured his spleen. So we can guess where he took the hit. This is classic up and over, chest, diaphragm, spleen, just took the whole thing out.
The diaphragm separates the thoracic and abdominal cavities. It can be compromised by blunt or penetrating trauma. When the diaphragm is ruptured, abdominal contents can enter the chest cavity. Impaired ventilation results. Rupture on the left side is more common because of a weakness created by the esophageal opening. A ruptured diaphragm is a contraindication for use of PASG. Any increase in intra-abdominal pressure may result in more respiratory compromise.
When we talk about ruptured diaphragm, again, not a real common condition, but it produces ventilatory impairment because it decreases the available lung field on that side, plus it hurts, plus the diaphragm doesn't work very well, respiratory distress, and diminished breath sounds.
Sure, and you lose, depending on where you read it, 70 to 80% of the negative potential for breathing is produced with the flattening of the diaphragm. So once that's gone, we're looking at now chest wall excursion. I imagine this person would be pretty hypoxic and pretty hypercarbic if this persisted.
That's right.
Because they just simply cannot move enough air, which should be a serious problem, like you say, in the long run.
Sure. And then, now that we looked at what happens in the thorax, then looking in the abdomen, we have the potential for bleeding. This guy fractured his spleen, abdominal pain, and shock. And what they saw and what they treated was a patient with respiratory distress post-traumatically and shock post-traumatically. So they were right on the dime. And it's real important when we talk about this case to say, we neither one will know nor care that it's a ruptured diaphragm in the field. We're looking at a guy with chest and abdominal trauma.
I don't know that I don't care. I think it's going to change my treatment, especially when we think ALS. But there's not anything else. It's not like you're going to be able to patch it.
Yeah, in the cases you've seen, did you know it in the field?
Just the ones that I saw that had the big dished out belly.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, that is, you don't see
Rare.
it very often. It is rare at best.
Basic treatment, very straightforward. Airway control, oxygen, ventilation, spinal immob, Trendelenburg position to treat shock. Maybe, we'll talk about that in a second, rapid transport. This patient might need oxygen and ventilation. if in fact his respiratory distress gets great enough.
I'd take one more step. I'd say he absolutely needs oxygen.
Well, oxygen, clearly. Assisted ventilation, maybe.
That's a strong argument, depending on what else went with it. One would be suspicious about rib fractures. There's some other potential here. Plus his sternum, very painful injury there. Is when you take that path into the steering wheel. Certainly, airway control is the bread and butter.
What do you think about Trendelenburg? I think this guy's respiratory distress is going to get worse if I tip him upside down.
Well, especially, I agree wholeheartedly. You've got a hole, and I don't think everything is just going to shift in there, but enough can, and it's like anything else. An abdominal bleed can simply push the diaphragm up, which can compromise breathing solely by that mechanism to put him into a shock position. And, you read the benefits are very limited. I mean, in some cases, I recall, it's about 2% improvement in circulating volume.
It's not great.
It's not like all of a sudden you tip their feet up and it's presto mundo. And in this case, considering that he's got a big defect in the diaphragm, I don't see that is something I would consider right off the
I think to me the key is if when I do Trendelenburg, the shortness of breath gets worse, the color gets worse, back down. And maybe even consider elevating the head of the bed if that'll help his ventilatory abilities, or just take over and vent for him.
I think that's pretty good reasoning and thinking through the process. Okay, back into the ALS side, we're controlling the airway, making sure high flow oxygen. This is a guy I think that could definitely benefit from innovation.
Clearly.
Especially if he's taking real weenie breaths and is just simply not able to move enough tidal volume, i.e. minute volume.
Right.
We certainly want to make sure that we're back to the same game of making sure that we have him immobilized from front to back, that is manual leading to mechanical.
Which they did well. I mean, we've talked a little bit. Sure. KED onto the board, I think, was a good call in this case.
Sure. Consider the mask, maybe lay him out. I don't see that it's an issue here. In fact, the abdominal compartment might actually continue to push more abdominal contents through that hole, so that might be arguable. The monitor, which is rarely a primary tool in trauma, is certainly worth having on if you're looking for the possibility of a cardiac contusion, but a lot of times those changes are not evident there. Cardiac contusions don't occur to the point where I don't think they're that frequent, and they're not so serious that you're going to see, especially in limited pre-hospital lead monitoring, you're going to see a lot of changes. A couple of lines, big bore NS or LR, and rapid transport, down the road they go, because he definitely needs to see a surgeon.
That's right. One other point about the PASG that bears repeating, and again, I don't think most of the time I'm going to know what this injury is. I'm just going to think it's a multisystem trauma patient with abdominal and thoracic injuries, but this speaks again to our concerns about using the abdominal compartment in patients with thoracic injuries. He's got pain in his chest, he's got trauma in his chest, and although we don't know he's got a ruptured diaphragm, boy, I hate inflating the abdominal compartment with the potential that will make that 1 to 2 word dyspnea worse. That makes it O to 1 word dyspnea or
no word dyspnea, which is bad word dyspnea.
Right. So, I think that, again, if you're going to use the PASG, avoid the abdominal compartment if you can.
A trauma patient who is alert and oriented may still have significant injuries. Decreased breath sounds, difficulty breathing, and abdominal pain are signs of major internal injuries. Pre-hospital stabilization and shock management are vital care for improving a patient's outcome.
Looking at the big picture of vehicular trauma, we've looked a lot at the fundamentals, and I think the bread and butter of all good pre-hospital trauma care is indeed the basics.
Yes.
People may die from other complications, infection being a big problem later on, but the basics are what we need to build on. And a reminder for all of us that are working at the paramedic levels or any of the advanced levels is to not become so preoccupied with airway, that is getting an intubation, that we don't vent the patient or don't give them oxygen, that we get so crazed thinking about an IV that we don't control bleeding through some of the obvious back material that makes the front material come out, because without that, the ALS stuff doesn't work. I mean, the patient is ultimately compromised. So the big picture is to evaluate, control the airway, make sure high flow oxygen, and as time permits, then let's start thinking about, go ahead, get a line, get some fluids in, and certainly make sure the mechanism of injury drives us in our decision-making process, that the absence of any neuro deficit does not mean that there is not the possibility of spinal cord injury. We've seen a hidden bleed where, even though the signs of bleeding weren't obvious, 2,200 cc's of blood stashed in a pelvic compartment. Having a high index of suspicion and gluing that together with our basic and advanced skills provides these patients with the best shot we can give them in a pre-hospital setting.
Pre-hospital care has a direct effect on the immediate and long-term outcome of a trauma patient. Stabilization, shock management, and rapid transport are vital. Notify the trauma center as early as possible to allow adequate preparation. Continuously monitor the patient and be prepared to treat any changes that may occur.